You wouldn't believe how many people are killed by drunk driving each year, and it's absolutely awful to lose a loved one due to someone else's carelessness. According to the new legislation, these drivers are given life sentences. Do these drivers feel guilty for whatever they've done? Let's dig in. Amber Pereira, a 31-year-old woman who was operating the vehicle during a catastrophic collision on the Selman Expressway in 2017, was given a 50-year prison sentence. According to investigators, Amber Pereira was inebriated when she started a series of events that resulted in the deaths of 3 individuals of the Felipak family. If she were to be released again, according to the prosecution, she would seriously endanger the community. Pereira struck Luis Felipak, Rita, and their 8-year-old daughter Georgia while driving her vehicle on the Selman Expressway. She admitted to driving while intoxicated during the catastrophic crash going the wrong way. Pereira's car skidded out of control, slammed into Felipak's vehicle, sending it into the westbound lanes, where it was struck by 2 more vehicles and caught fire. According to police, Pereira continued to drive after her car was damaged and was later detained. Pereira first claimed to have had a seizure, but she was eventually convicted with DUI manslaughter. According to investigators, she was cruising her car at speeds of over 100 miles per hour just before an accident on the Selman Expressway with over 90 mph, running into the victim's car without leaving any sign that she had broken. She was also accused of leaving the scene of the crash, leaving a fatality and destroying evidence. She was also allegedly intoxicated when the crash occurred. Just before Judge Christopher Sabella handed down the 31-year sentence of 5 decades in prison, Pereira wiped away her tears and remarked, "Her life is gone, but she also damaged a lot of people's lives and killed 3 people." Kelly remarked, "The Felipak family had their lives snatched from them. I want her to hear the term life and have her life ripped from her. I find delight in the fact that she has since lost her life and will now spend her days in suffering as a result of never being happy." There were a number of crossover incidents that happened quickly after the catastrophic accident that involved the Felipak family. Olivia Culbreth, a lady from San Bernardino County, received a sentence of 30 years to life in jail for triggering a wrong-way collision on the 60 freeway in Diamond Bar that killed 6 people, including her sister. According to a police officer, the accident was tragic because 2 of them also died and 4 of them were killed. Olivia Culbreth, 26 of Fontana, received the highest punishment possible after entering a no-contest plea on May 22nd to 6 charges of second-degree criminal mischief, according to Superior Court Judge Lisa B. Lynch, who described the case as tragic. Culbreth was traveling at 100 miles per hour in both the northbound and southbound lanes of the 57 and 60 motorways, as well as in the eastbound and westbound lanes of the former. There, early on February 9, 2014, her 2013 Chevrolet Camaro collided head-on with the Ford Explorer. In addition to the 3 generations of family members on the Explorer who perished in the collision, Maya, Culbreth's 24-year-old sister, also perished. About 3 hours after the collision, Culbreth's blood alcohol level was measured at 0.15%, which is nearly twice the legal limit for being considered intoxicated. This indicates that she may have had more than just a glass of wine. In an emotional message, Culbreth expressed her regret to the families of the victims, stating, "No words, no one's thinking they have my heart, believe I was wrong." The judge expressed her regret to the families of the victims and expressed hope that their suffering would soon be lessened. She added that she hoped the sentence would allow Culbreth, who was 21 at the time of the accident, to prove her worth while incarcerated. After serving 25 years in prison, she will be eligible for a parole hearing, according to her attorney. Charlesia Pelt. In a drunk driving accident that claimed the life of her own 3-year-old son, a Detroit woman was given a sentence of 3 to 15 years in prison. The accident happened in August 2018. In response to allegations that she was driving under the influence and killed her 3-year-old son, Michael Jones, Charlesia Pelt entered a plea of guilty. She ran a red light on August 9th while traveling eastward on East 7 Mile Road in the wrong direction, colliding with a vehicle traveling north on Hayes. The 3-year-old was reportedly seen by a witness flying out of the van while still in his car seat. She received prison terms ranging from 3 to 15 years for second-degree child misconduct and 3 to 10 years for driving while intoxicated that resulted in a fatality. She stated that she didn't love her baby, but that she has since come to understand that it was everything to her, and she apologized for everything. She was charged with 1 count of operating while intoxicated, causing the death of Michael Jones. If found guilty of this felony, she could spend up to 15 years in prison. The sentence will run concurrently. Michelle Lake, a woman who had previously been imprisoned for a drunk driving accident that claimed a man's life, received a 10-year prison term for another crash that she caused while under the influence of drugs. During an emotional hearing that included evidence from Michelle Lake, the father of her kid, and one of the victims, Judge Patrick Dinkelacker sentenced 35-year-old Michelle Lake for one charge each of vehicular attack and aggravated vehicular attack. According to one of the members of the victim's family, she's still in pain and struggles with everything. She's unable to walk, but she continually visualizes, which is extremely painful for her. On December 6, 2018, at around 9:32 a.m., Lake was traveling north of LaFoy Avenue in Westwood. Authorities discovered cocaine, fentanyl, and methadone in Lake's system when she crossed the center line and struck an oncoming vehicle, seriously injuring the driver and a front seat passenger. Her driver's license had also been suspended following a drunk driving accident in 2006 that claimed the life of a passenger in her car. The actions made as a result, according to Lake, will haunt her, the victim's family, and her family for the rest of the time. Every day she'll be plagued by these demons who took advantage of her frail mental state the night before the accident. You're like a ticking time bomb, Dinkelacker said to Lake during sentencing. You drive even though it's against the law. You use heroin, and you haven't done much to stop. Combine those factors and you wind up in this situation. According to one prosecutor, Lake has already served 2 prison terms and has a history of substance abuse problems. She also had a previous crash that was eerily similar to this one, in which she killed a person just 2 years after committing a burglary, and the prosecution asked the judge for a 10-year sentence. Lake is a mother with only minor infractions due to her addiction, according to Lake's defense counsel, Alexandria Thurner, who pleaded for a more moderate punishment from the judge. Dinkelacker followed the suggestion of the prosecution and sentenced Lake to 8 years in prison for the crime of aggravated vehicular assault and 2 years for the vehicular attack charge, both of which must be served concurrently. Lake will also have her driver's license permanently suspended and be placed on probation for 3 years following her release. Jorge Solis, a Georgia man who caused 3 fatalities and 2 major injuries while driving under the influence on Interstate 75, received a 50-year jail sentence when he crashed his Ford F-350 head-on into a car traveling from Illinois to Florida on I-75 southbound lanes. Jorge Solis, 20, of Ellenwood, was already on probation for a prior DUI conviction. 3 people were killed in the accident on Father's Day at 5 a.m. Haley Young, of 7 years old, Cameron Osborne, of 8 years old, and Michael Furlow, of 49 years old. Michael Osborne, of 49 years old, and Clayton Flood, of 3 years old, both suffered severe injuries. Michael Osborne was paralyzed, despite having a blood alcohol level of 0.125. Solis escaped injury. However, according to Atlanta Fulton County District Attorney Paul L. Howard, Solis was so intoxicated that when police arrived, he was passed out and leaning against the motorway median. Solis pleaded guilty to a number of charges, including 6 counts of first-degree homicide by vehicle. Judge Henry Newkirk of Fulton County sentenced Solis to spend 50 years of a 75-year jail term. Unintentionally, innocent people were killed as a result of their foolish behavior. The victim's family, as well as the criminal's family, will suffer tremendous harm as a result of this ignorance. So drive safely and with caution.